promise for the Bears, going 4 for 7 with 95 passing yards. He had a 13-yard run on a scramble in 2 series of work. And I know it's just one game, but Bears fans, and maybe they've got some reason to be excited there. I think they do. Mina, did Caleb live up to expectations in his first action?
Yeah, I mean, he was as advertised. He has every club in the bag when it comes to NFL throws. We knew that. We saw that. Some of the off-platform stuff was on display. But what really jumped out to me, Dan, was his poise. You saw there in those highlights, the third down throw, third and long to DJ Moore. Watching that the next day on the end zone view, watching his helmet move across the field, watching how calm he looked in what admittedly was a very clean pocket, trusting that to hold up, not bailing, not looking jittery ever. That's the good stuff right there. I mean, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm thrilled with this first outing, and he's off to a fantastic start. Yeah, I thought he was sensational. And MK, you talk about that third down. That's a difficult kind of recognition to get for a player who maybe hasn't seen that play or that type of coverage in his career, certainly ever. And to be able to do that with the athleticism stuff is a big deal. Those are those 3 receivers that MK brought up. They're just going to run deep sits, essentially. And you're trying to build a 5-point die. And you're trying to start over the middle of the field, get everybody at the depth of the third down, and you're working towards whatever internal defender squeezes off that flat defender. He works weak side and at the right time rips the ball. This was one of the more impressive plays I saw of him. Mina, you mentioned poise. He's going to get pressure, and he's throwing a screen backside. So often guys panic in that moment because the screen feels faster or slower than the pressure. He just patiently waits and dumps the ball off the Swift. This is one of my favorite plays of the weekend. It looks like single high safety, meaning one guy in the middle field, man coverage underneath. It's third down. Ball gets snapped and they spin the coverage to man underneath, but 2 safeties. The main thing is no one's accounting for the quarterback. He quickly recognizes that and takes off as a runner. And I think that's the big thing, is how quick. That wasn't a scramble to get out of bad. That was a scramble because the opportunity for good. The last thing I'd say is this, MK. He saw 5 different defenses. Traditional man, cover 2, cover 3, quarters, fire zone. He didn't look fazed by any of it. That's different than what we saw in college. The focus on Minnesota and the Vikings camp with rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy. He's, of course, trying to win the starting quarterback job from Sam Darnold at the moment. We saw J.J. in preseason action, though. Let's get Dan in here. What did the tape show you, Dan? Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we loved with J.J., the play action at Michigan, showed itself again. Minnesota, 2 huge crossers that were great. But I love the deep out, or what we call a shake route throw, because the challenge of play action, there's pros and cons to it. And also, J.J. was such this firm thrower in college football that this was a little bit of a touch or love kind of throw. Okay, so the benefits to play action is it helps quarterbacks with protection and different concepts. The downside is this. When you get to the line of scrimmage and you see these 2 safeties, you're trying to figure out, are they going to be in a 1 safety defense, meaning that safety goes back to the middle of the field and he drops down, or are they maybe going to go to be a 2 safety defense and they both split the field? Now, the challenge is going to be this. As a quarterback, if you're playing drop back, you can always keep your eyes on those safeties. In the play action game, when the ball gets snapped, J.J. McCarthy has to turn his back to the defense and no longer sees him. When he's going to make that ball fake to the running back, his eyes are pointed that way. He can't see that these safeties actually did spin to that cover too, okay? Now, step number 1, J.J. after the fake has got to do a great job of getting his eyes downfield to see, okay, what did those safeties do? And then also find that middle linebacker, because if they split wide and he runs through, now he knows he's got that Tampa 2 defense. Okay, step number 2 is the pass concept. That's that deep shake and flat route off that check. We are going to read this number 1 to number 2. We want to throw this route, okay? It's going to be dependent on this corner. If that corner stays low, we want to throw the deep ball. If he comes up and if he stays deep, we want to take the check down. Now, JJ does a fantastic job of sitting in to that hitch, getting that corner to bite that he wants to throw that flat route, and opening up that deep shake. Now, here's the challenge and here's the improvement. This corner's got decent width out here. Maybe not enough depth to be able to take that away. So he's got to throw that ball. But if he firms this football like he did sometimes in college hard, that width of the corner is going to help him break it up. He's got to throw this ball up over the top to a spot ahead of that corner, above that corner, perfectly placed on the sideline. I love that because there's the improvement on the type of throw from J.J. McCarthy. Often crossers, it's easier to do, but just the challenge of
knowing that the play action certainly is going to help you, but there's also some operational elements that you have to do to be good in the play action world that in week 1, he already did it well.
Wow, I mean, that's a touch thing too. Like, that can't be easy to work on with your game.
Yeah, it's just nice to see for a guy that often threw something as hard as he could too much to develop. It was very pretty. Prettier than the shirt that this dude is wearing right now.
I've been waiting for that.
But a very pretty throw.
Brush those shoulders off, Swagoo.
It's still summer.
Yeah, no.
Still summer, man.
I thought you were going to unbutton it a little bit more, too. Okay, anyway, while we look at your shirt.
They're not ready for that.
Don't give them what they want, okay? While we get a nice view of your shirt here, let's talk about Sam Darnold, Swagoo, because he's got QB1 spot right now there. Yeah. What did you make of his performance for Minnesota?
I think when I was watching, I just reminded, like, this dude was a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. And you saw some of that play, the athleticism as well. But that deep dig he threw to Naylor is one of the prettiest balls I've seen thrown in a long time. This one right here. And Dan just talked about JJ being able to layer it. This right here was a seed now. And this is the type of throw that had us excited when Sam Darnold went to Carolina under a new staff, if he could emerge and put the pass behind him when he left the Jets. But you see these type of things from Sam Darnold, and you just get excited. But you got to take a pause because you know sometimes that you may have to take a step back based on his play. But that throw right there reminded me of why he was the 3rd overall pick in the draft.
Marcus, Mina texted me a still shot of that, and she was like, "I will not quit Sam Darnold." I was like, "Same."
Why you gotta blow up our texts?
Yeah.
Listen, all right. Now that you let the world know, there are some of us, Dan and I, may be in this club, who still have a few shares of Sam Darnold stock that we're holding on to. And let me tell you, when he threw that ball to Naylor on the dagger concept, it was like a sleeper cell being activated. Like a part of my brain started firing because that was one of the best throws I saw all weekend. But in all seriousness, I think it creates an interesting dilemma for the Vikings, not just between these two quarterbacks, but are you going to let J.J. McCarthy, who I thought had a phenomenal first outing, compete for the first job? Which, I mean, in weeks 2 and 3 in the preseason, are you going to flip the order so that he can go against ones at some point? It's hard when Sam Darnold is playing like that. And I think it's going to be a challenging thing for the Vikings to balance, to making this feel like a real fair competition so that he earns the job.
Yeah, and you got to think, too, that schedule that they'll actually face, Dan, is part of their decision-making.
Yeah, I think they have to be really encouraged. Sam played well. JJ showed well. It's what we believe.
It's a good problem.
Good situation. Marcus.
Can I ask Dan? This for Sam Darnold, the fact that he has O'Connell now, how much does that change?
Yeah, I mean, it's like he went from San Francisco but didn't get the chance to play. Now he goes to O'Connell, and he's going to more than likely get the chance to play. And it's by far the best opportunity he's ever had.
Us Sam Darnold lovers here, it's the magic we've been waiting for.
Pure. We didn't get a massive body of work, but the thing that stood out at his time at LSU was how natural of a thrower he was, and the ball placement, meaning throwing away from defenders, was his superpower. And he checks out of empty into a go route down the field, and that's good coverage by the Jets. And he throws it to the place only his guy can catch it away from that defender's outstretched arm. And you saw a little bit of the athleticism with his touchdown run, but the pure ability to throw the football exactly where you want it to be stood out for Jayden Daniels. And I completely agree with Coach Belichick. One of the big takeaways when you step out there on the field is how big the defensive linemen are, and Jayden got that opportunity.
He saw some big ones in the SEC, but these are probably bigger. All right, to Vegas next. Brock Bowers had 2 catches for 25 yards in his debut. Head coach Antonio Pierce has big plans for the rookie tight end.
Really want to get the ball out to Brock, and I think everything we've been waiting to see, we saw. Just a dynamic player that's doing a good job just from a mental standpoint. Everything we're asking him to do, he's doing. He's not blinking. Not a lot of mental errors, not a repeat offender. Going to get better each and every week.
Mina, did you like how they used Bowers?
Oh, I loved it. I don't know who's playing quarterback in Las Vegas, but I do know this team is going to live in 12 personnel with him and Michael Mayer, and I love seeing their new offensive coordinator, Luke Getsy, align him all over the place. 4 snaps in line, 3 split out wide, including on the big catch and run. You see the radius there, by the way, scooping that ball up. 3 in the backfield, which is something I did not see coming, and I loved 1 in the slot. If this is a preview of what this offense is going to look like, sign me up, because they're going to find mismatches all over the place with Brock Bowers.
Let's go to Seattle next, where rookie defensive end Byron Murphy saw his first action. Marcus, what kind of impact did he have on the field?
He was super active. A lot of what we've seen from these rookies translate from what they did in college. And Byron Murphy, the defensive lineman, I know what the graphic looks like, for Seattle was physical with knockback, getting into the backfield, making negative plays, being super active and pushing the pocket into the lap of the quarterback, as you see here. And then the next play, movement. His cat quickness is something that we talked about pre-draft. And then this, now he got to finish the sack. But the ability to run games and stay tight and be strong and dynamic on the interior of the pocket reminds me a lot of what Christian Wilkins did in Miami. It just kept coming to my mind is that is how Christian Wilkins plays. He's active and always around the football.
That's a good comparison. Let's get Mina in here. You excited to see Murphy for your Seahawks this season?
Yeah, I didn't know I was on camera there, just listening to my guy talk about Byron Murphy. Absolutely loved what I saw out of him. The power that he's able to generate with his lower half, getting low against those double teams, the agility, running games. I'm so curious to see how Mike McDonald deploys him. You remember Justin Badabwike having his career year last year in Baltimore. I would not be surprised if we see really good production from Byron Murphy Jr. Byron Murphy II, year 1, because he seems to have that special talent.